Welcome to another great Suddenly Comics video. Suddenly Comics. YouTube. Instagram. Whatnot. eBay. It's all about comics.
Hi comic books fans and welcome to suddenlycomics.com. A bit of a different show today. It is not about it's not about comics. I know my phrase is it's all about comics, but what I'm going to talk about is comic adjacent, okay? So I am going to be talking about the greatest, in my view, one of the greatest pulp magazines of all time. And I'm going to be talking to you about a pulp magazine called Amazing Stories. Now, Amazing Stories started in 1926, and it was started by a man called Hugo Gernsback. Now, Hugo Gernsback had a mission, basically, and he wanted to produce a magazine about science fiction and about science in order to enthuse the greater public about the possibilities of science. So quite a lot of the science fiction was what I'd call near science fiction, where small technological changes had occurred and moving science forward. This magazine was hugely popular. It generated a whole series of fans for science fiction, and indeed a number of great science fiction authors, including Arthur C. Clarke, Isaac Asimov, and Robert Heinlein, all said that Amazing Stories had influenced them early on, and indeed all three of them contributed to Amazing Stories, as we shall see later. Now, Hugo Gernsback, you've heard of the Hugo Award for science fiction. It is named after Hugo Gernsback. He was that influential. Unfortunately, in 1929, Amazing Stories got into financial difficulty, and Gernsback had to relieve control. And Amazing Stories has changed publishers a number of times, but carried on being published. So it is a very long-running title. And the reason I'm talking to you about this today is that I was lucky enough to be able to pick up some early issues of Amazing Stories at an auction recently. So it was an auction up in Newcastle. There was a lot consisting of 40 Amazing Stories, dating from 1936 through to 1952. So I bid on these, and including buyer's premium, these cost me £200, which I think is a bit of a bargain. I am not an expert on the value of these things, but looking on eBay, I think they're worth anywhere between £5 to £30, depending upon condition and depending on which issue. However, there's one exception in this bunch of comics that I've got. There's one comic I think is worth a lot more than what I paid for the entire lot, and I'll show you that when I get to it. Okay, so we're going to start off with from comics from 1952. Here we have Amazing Stories, volume 26, number 1. So every year it starts a new volume. Okay, so it's nicely numbered. It started in 1926, so by the time we got to 1952, we are on volume 26, and January is issue 1. Very good numbering system. It lets you know exactly where you are. And in this one we have got Rolf fought his own people that a planet might be free, the reluctant traitor, from January 1952. Okay, these are in varying condition. I mean, you've got to remember, even this one, which is the this is the most recent one that I picked up, is what, 73 years old. So, you know, it's amazing it survived at all. These were produced as ephemera in stuff that was to be thrown away on very low quality grade paper, hence the name pulp. Um, so it's amazing these have survived at all. Uh, there we go. That is the first one I'm showing you from 1952. Uh, next up, also from 1952. This is The Golden Gods by John Bloodstone. Great cover, that one. Like that one. And these are in varying condition, you know. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are pretty ropey. Here we go from October 1952. Was it a man's love or a woman's lust that cast this shadow on the moon? Okay, and now moving on to 1950, Man Against Metal in a Weird World Beyond the Walls of Space. Also from 1950, July, We the Machine by Gerald Vance. And from 1950, we've got a giant hand cover. This is All Heroes Are Hated by Milton Lesser. Okay, right, from 1949 we have quite a nice little bunch of comics from 1949. In fact, I think we've got 7 or 8 of the ones from 1949. Here we go. First of all, we have got a dinosaur cover. I think this is January 1939, issue 1, volume 1, volume 23, issue 1. And we have issue 3, The Chemical Vampire by Lee Francis. He tried to create life, but it was really death. There we go. This is a great cover. This does sell for a bit more money. I have seen this one. It is a classic monster cover. The Monster by S.M. Tenoshaw. Nice. And that one I got a duplicate of, which I will be selling on. Amazing Stories, volume 22, number 6. Nice sort of Amazon cover. Number 20, issue volume number 7 from 1949. This one is in really good condition. I Paint from Death by Robert Fleming Fitzpatrick. From September 1949, Swamp Girl of Venus by H.H. Harman. And this is a really beautiful cover. This is from December 1949. Right, so those are from 1949. We also have a nice bundle of comics from 1948. This is from January 1948. And Gods of Venus by Richard S. Shaver, number 3. This is number 3 from 1948. Amazing Stories, The Monster from Mars by Alexander Blade, and we appear to have got a giant spider cover. Amazing Stories, number 7 from 1948. This is in quite good condition, that cover. Amazing Stories, number 10. The Giant Calculating Machine That Decides to Rule the World. There we go. From 1948, we have AI taking over the world. Very prescient. And Amazing Stories. This one's in not very good condition. The cover is badly damaged. Okay, so that's it from 1948. We do have a couple from 1947. Number 10, Trial of the Astrogar by Henry Hess. We have number 2 from volume 21, Orphan of Atlans. And we have, this cover's come off, Ag Hearty by Henrik Hauser. And we've got a picture of pyramids on the back page for some reason. Right, okay, now we are going to take a jump in time. Are we going to take a jump in time? Yes, we are taking a jump in time. So we're going to go from 1947. For some reason there's a gap in these, and I have no comics between 1947 and 1939. So we are now going to jump to January 1939, and so this is now volume 13, number 1, and we have a story called An Amazing Confession, I, Robot, by Eno Binder. Now I think somebody nicked the title I, Robot, and we've also got some great pictures on these back of these ones, sort of showing future designs. That one is the future rocket train. Looks like a maglev train. So that's from 1939. Number 2 from 1939, Wanted, Seven Fearless Engineers by Warner Van Loorn. And then we've got a picture of the ocean liner of the future, which looks pretty good to me. Right guys, here is what I think is the money book, okay? This is Amazing Stories, volume 13, number 3, okay? Doesn't look anything special, does it? However, it does have a story in it by Robert Bloch, but that is not what makes this valuable. What makes this valuable is it contains this story here, Marooned Off Vesta, by a gentleman called Isaac Asimov. This is Isaac Asimov's first published story. There we go. Amazing Stories, volume 13, number 3, Isaac Asimov's first published story. Now, there's one of these on eBay, and it's currently on eBay in about the same condition as this one. You know, it's not awful. You know, it's probably a VG minus, something like that. I don't know how you grade these pulps, but it looks in about the same condition as this one, and it's selling for £1,400. Now I also checked the sold information, and there's one of these sold in January for about £200, but they hadn't really made a point of the fact that it was Isaac Asimov's first published work. So this, I guess, is worth somewhere between £200 and £1,400. Great. So I paid £200 for all these, and I think this one sort of covers everything, and probably a bit more. So there you go, first published story by Isaac Asimov in this one. Next up, it's number 6 from 1939. This one is in really good condition. This hasn't got the first published story by anybody famous as far as I'm aware, but it does have a good picture of the future spacesuit on it. That one's in really nice condition. Number 7 from the same year, 1939. We've got a few from 1939. This is from August from 1939, Warrior of Mars, and we've got a picture of the City of Tomorrow on the back of it. Amazing Stories, this is again from 1939. from September. These 1939 ones are in good shape, and we've got an Arctic radio farm on the back. I don't know what an Arctic radio farm is. I don't think those have come about. Maybe in the future. Amazing Stories, Ghosts of Mars by Festus Pragnell. Kiss of Death by Neil R. Jones. And on the back we've got a spaceship of 2038. Well, 2038 is a lot closer to where we are now than December 1939. I don't think we're anywhere close to having that spaceship. Maybe Elon Musk is using this design for his Mars space rocket. From 19, so we've lost the side thing, but this is from November 1939, Ray of Eternity by Richard Tucker. I think this one's worth money. I think this one is the Melting Flesh cover. Yeah, I think that one is worth a bit of money. This is from October 1939. I've got a lot from 1939. This is from February 1939. Now we are in 1938 now. This one hasn't got a complete cover, but I don't think we've been doing badly with these. Most of these covers are complete. There's very few of them like that which are missing a bit. From August 1938 we've got our first bondage cover. And finally the oldest one I've got here, which I think, I can't read it very well, and I can't see the indicia on it. I think this is from 1930, well, I don't know. Oh, I do know, it says 1937. That's the earliest one I've got, from 1937. There we go. What a fantastic collection of pulps there. I'm going to have to clean all those up. I'm going to put them in bags and boards. I'm probably going to put that first Isaac Asimov up on eBay at somewhere between 200 and 1,400 pounds. Or if anybody wants to make me an offer for it, contact me and let me know. Anyway, that's your lot. See ya again soon.